Okay, good morning, all. Thank you all for being here. This is an exciting time. We're going to get to interview Michael Frumelt. Did I say your last name correctly?
That's fine.
It's fine. He didn't say it's
It's okay.
correctly. It's
Yeah,
good enough for your
it's very
stupid
close.
American tongue.
Actually, my name is really not Michael, but
What is it
so
then? Why are we going
Mikhail,
by this imposter? Oh, Mikhail. Okay, all right.
because yes, it's just English is Michael, right? So
I see. Okay.
yeah.
Um,
Well, anyway, my name is Michael. That's right.
Good. Well, thank you for doing this. Everyone's going to benefit. If I can just do a brief intro, I invited Michael to this group, and Michael was one of the last ones to reach out to me while I was at Convergent, and we spent some time together and just we are and have been accountability partners, but now that he's super awesome and super profitable, I barely feel like he needs me anymore. But anyway, we talk on a regular basis daily and are constantly trying to help each other improve. And I'm very excited to do this interview. Michael is going to tell us a bit. Maybe I'm going to ask you because you're international. Tell us a little bit more about where you live and how you got into trading and all that. But I'm really excited about this.
Sure.
So maybe
Yeah.
we'll give you a little bit more time in 5-10 minutes. Tell us about your journey that led you here, or even into trading, and then something that you appreciate the group and one thing that you'd like to improve.
Yes. Well, first of all, I would say I really need you. I still need you a lot. My trading partner, I need you, sure. Because sometimes you don't see your own mistakes, right? You
Hmm.
just blindfolded and you just think you're, yeah, and then you just dig your own grave. But well, I did that last week, so I know how it is when you think you can do it, and then suddenly you nothing is going the way you think, and you make a ton of mistakes, and you can't see them. Um, yes, I'm from Denmark. I got into trading. Yeah, that's kind of in the gray area because I don't really know for how many years I've done this. I think 5 maybe. I started trading currencies or FX, and I was first introduced to pattern recognition, Fibonacci retracements, by Larry Pesavento. I read some of his books and contacted him and started to hang out with him on Skype, and he taught me how to see that pattern and how to trade them. But couldn't really make it work, and I also tried a lot of different indicators. Didn't really resonate with me, so I kept on searching, and then I bumped into David Weiss, and I studied for him for about almost a year, I think, where he taught me a lot about price action, how to read price action bar by bar, and he taught me a lot about like classical TA, like trend channels, and you have to look back on the chart and see where the auction areas are, and when price comes down there again, what will happen. And then, yeah, he taught me a lot about structure and looking at price. And he also introduced me to the Wyckoff concept, which I found very appealing. So I studied that more. And he only taught me about volume. So I was like wave volume, the way Wyckoff describes it in his books. And so I started to study footprint charts. So I studied that a lot. I have I don't know if you know Michael Valters. He used to be a professional trader, and he's got some software that I bought and try to use that. And yeah, I just tried out a bunch of different things, and I ended up with the Wyckoff because it makes sense to me. And now I don't use footprint charts anymore. I'm kind of in the process of scaling out of all the things that I use. I also went through Bookmap, and I think it's an awesome tool. I think I have to spend a lot more time with it if I have to use it. Um, but right now I'm just trading off the charts without any numbers. I don't use a dome. I don't use footprint charts, and I don't use Bookmap or anything else. And use the mbox wave like like Joshua do. And I think that's enough. For me, I'm trying to see less, and also I've been looking at price actions for so long that I kind of think I know my products. I'm starting to trade the RTY also. That acts a little bit different than the YM, a lot different actually. So yeah, but that's and yes, I was introduced to this group by, as Joshua said, by him, and I'm very fortunate that you did that. So many thanks. I think this is a very good group, and I love the way that the people are honest. And sometimes it hurts, and sometimes it's well, but it's always to try to help, and that's very good. I like that. Yeah, the main thing when people reach out is to try to help you, not try to show off. To try to help you. So that's very important to bear in mind when you think like, well, when you either have the truth handed to you, it can be harsh sometimes, right? So yes, was that the answer for the question,
Yes, and
or?
one perfect answer. I loved it. And any, what's one thing you'd improve about this group?
I think it's the accountability. I actually think it's very good that we're trying to push here. The group is new and or fairly new, and I would like to go more down that road to be accountable to for my trading to others so they can comment on it. So that's why I think it's good that we have these trader spotlights so we know how people are thinking when they're trading and
Yes.
what we have to look for when if we have to comment on other people's trading when they post their trading
Yep.
trading results.
Yep. Yep.
Great
I
answers.
Yeah, I think that's true,
Thanks.
and we're we need to strive for greater accountability, greater visibility. We're doing things. We just need to keep doing things. I think the posting in your own channel is a big portion of that reality of having your stuff up there to look at and have somebody go, even if they're wrong. Well, this makes no sense to me. Can you please explain it? And you do that a lot, Michael,
Mm,
and I actually appreciate the fact that you do that. I appreciate the fact that you think that you struggle with English, because in many ways it allows you to phrase questions that have that mindset by nature. It's a great thing that you do.
mm, thanks. Yeah, sometimes I just don't understand because also if you look, there's a lot of abbreviations and slang and sometimes there are that, and then I don't understand it. So it's like, what? What does he mean? What is this? But I'm trying to, it's when I ask questions, it's always because I don't understand. It's not because I want to be, what do you say, cocky and say, hey, I know better. You should do this. Because we all trade in a different way, and we have to respect each other the way that we look at the market, right? There's a thousand ways. Oh, by the way, I also the way I came into Converge because I've been hooked up with FT for a long time. I followed him, and I almost got in stage 5, but I didn't want to switch because of I had to change my software. I didn't want to do that.
Mm.
So yeah,
So
so
tell
that's
us
the way I
about
went.
your trading process and what you think about it. Excuse me, what you think is working.
Yeah, well, the thing that works is the boring stuff for me, unfortunately. And that's because I would really like to be a better scalper because I like it. But when I look at my results, I can see that I pay I mean, I don't make money scalping because I pay it all back in commissions. So, but I would like to. But when I look, what works is my main. I have two main setups that I trade off the 1 minute chart, and that gave me, yeah, that's good. That works for me. I traded, I think, yeah. Well, it works. When I look at my results, that's what brings in the money, the ticks. Maybe I share my screen and tell you a little bit about how I do that, or is that
Absolutely.
soon? Okay.
The
Or
next question we're going to go into is to have you describe an ideal setup. So, I mean, I think the nature of this question is And I'm intrigued by your point that's the boring stuff. But what we're looking to understand is that you're a process and approach to the market, which you talked about a little bit already with Wyckoff. But I think if you
Mm.
were to take it a step further and describe to a trader who doesn't understand your system of interpretation, maybe you could maybe you could unpack your system of interpretation.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is the road or the way of least resistance. It's trying to find out what way the market want to go, and the and I do that with price action and delta analysis, and I also do it like on another chart with volume weighted average price for the day and for day 2 and day 3. So I have those 3 VWAPs running, and I actually found out that looking at less is better for me.
Hmm.
So recently I dropped all this. I don't use the RTA session. I just trade off the full session. Um, so I don't have the IB and I don't have all that to look at. I don't have the like last day's high low, the monthly close and all that. I used to look at that also, but I'm in a process where I just want to trade in the now moment and let the price action and the delta tells me what I have to do.
Does that, and so
Because
that's inclusive of an exit then as well, right? So you're not focusing on exiting at references really, like some of us are.
yes, well, yes and no, because I'm aware of it because I can see it on my daily chart. Not my daily chart, but I have a 5 minute chart. Maybe I should show it so it might make more sense
Yeah,
actually.
let's pull that up.
Uh, yeah, I need to find where it is.
And by the way, rest of the guys, if you have questions that you feel like weren't
Oh,
quite answered, I mean, it's the same questions week to week, but if you feel like there's a little bit more interesting things you want to pursue, please pipe in and ask your question.
so do you see 2 charts here?
I do, bear with me one moment so that we've got it
I
everywhere.
do.
Yeah.
2 charts.
Maybe these are the same, but this is just for the R2Y and this is for the YM. Maybe you can just use the R2Y. So it might be easier just to see it. So this is over here. This is yeah, this is a volume you call it. Oh, I forgot the name of it.
Volume profile?
Yes, thank you. And these lines are these. This is actually this line here is where the day starts, the global session starts. So this volume profile will change. We see when I draw it, it will change. So it will show what's on the screen. So that's why I'm just putting it there because this is the totally global session. So when I come in and I start to trade in for you guys would be in the morning. For me, it would be in the afternoon. I can see what's had been going on for the whole day, for the whole global session. So I do look at price when it comes up in this area again. For instance, if it comes down here and it starts to move up here, I'm aware of this area. But I don't have the IB high and low. I don't have but I do have the high of the day because it's here. I know it. So of course I do have it, but I don't have it marked as a line. But I'm aware of it. So, but I'm more aware of areas when it comes up in this area here, and it starts to stall. And if I were long, I could close my trade. Depends on what my trigger chart tells me about delta and price action. But these lines here, maybe I should just explain them.
Yes.
The green line is the VWAP for the day. The yellow one is a continuation second day VWAP, and the red one is a continuation third day VWAP. And it's because I've been taught that institutional traders look at these lines, and when they break out of these 3 lines, it could really run either to the upside or the downside. So it breaks out of this area here. You can see where the R2Y breaks out here. I actually took this trade yesterday, this long, on a phone at the hospital. Yeah, because it was, yeah, I went at the hospital with my mother and I was only using my phone, but I saw this, so I just went
Starting to
long. So
sound like
that's,
Jeremy.
I do. Okay. I guess that's a good thing, huh?
Yes, I'd say.
But you can also see here, this is a perfect example when it breaks out of these VWAP lines, and then it's also out of the value area for the full session. Um, so that combined, okay, maybe the numbers I should ask. These the white ones are the volume for this wave, and the blue ones and the red ones is delta numbers for the wave, for this wave up here,
And are you
or
looking for
actually from
anything
here.
specific in those waves?
Well, yeah, I'm looking at the imbalance but this I do not trade off this 5-minute chart, but I use it as reference points. I'm use it also when it comes up like this, when it pulls up like this, and it retraces down here. I'm looking at this VWAP line down here. What does it do? Okay, does it have, and also this area down here, this micro auction area down here, when it comes down to this area, does it just go through, or does it have a hard time going down, and what happens? And then I look at the delta, which is positive on the down wave. That's very bullish, especially if it can go down through this area. And well, this is on hindsight, so it's easy to say, but that's the way I look at it. And then it turns up. And if I was trading this on a 5-minute, and this, as soon as this bar closes above this VWAP line, I would go long. But then again, I will have problems up here when it hits the second day VWAP, and also up here. I would be cautious, and also because it comes up to this big threat area for earlier for the Asian and the European session. Yeah, and that's what I look at. And sometimes I scroll out to see, like when it runs like this, I need to see, so I just go like this and I see, it's up here, see stuff here, and then I can take maybe another day in. So I'll take 3 days in maybe, and I'll look at it and I'll see that the value high area is up here in this area. So I might, when price come up here, I might look at taking some off, or maybe the whole thing. But again, it depends on what my trigger chart tells me.
So you're using the
And
5-minute for your context and price
yeah,
structure for entries yeah, and really entries and targets.
yeah. And if you want to look at my trigger chart, which is a 1 minute, I'll just pull it over here. Is that visible?
Hmm.
Can people see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the same thing with the waves, the volume and the delta. These are our algo signals. It's the same as Joshua trades. So this is 3 times. This is the 3rd time that the delta has diminished to the downside. So you said 3, like -3, -2, +1. So it makes this hashtag. Same here, -8, -3, -2, ding. And that's why that's in parentheses, because this is the 2nd time it happens. So that's also an indicator that this might go up. These are the EMAs. I use that for price action. That was something I was introduced to by Linda Raschke actually many years ago, but
Oh,
I didn't
really?
pay any. Yeah, she uses it also. But I bumped into it again when I studied with Matt Bown, and he uses it a lot. So that the yellow one is the 200 EMA, the red one is the 100 EMA, and the white one is the 50 EMA. The blue one is the 20 EMA, and the green one is the 80 EMA. And when they are stacked, there's a price action bias to the upside. And I compare that with these delta boxes down here that shows how much how much delta there is in this area from here to up here. And then it turns so you can see there's a lot of selling here in this area. Maybe I should enhance it a little bit. So those are the things that I'm looking for when I have to go in. But you see, I have to compare boxes with price actions. That's the way I do it anyway. So you see this box comes up here, that's pretty large, and it makes a substantial move up. And then you have this tiny down wave, but with a lot of delta. So there's a lot of selling going on here, aggressive selling, but price is not going down. So that tells me there must be a lot of passive buying going on in here. And when I see this candle here, with this indicator down here, it measures the speed of the bid and the offers. I see this blue one just spikes up like this, compared to these, then I'm long because they're stacked. We have an imbalance. We have this effort versus reward here. Try to push it down with no luck, and then it just easily would. And then they have this ease of movement with price. It just goes up in one candle like there. It just takes out all these candles here. Yeah,
And
that's
is
pretty
that,
much the way I
if
look
that
at it.
pace of bid isn't there, or speed of bid is not on that specific bar that you were talking about, if that's not there, do you not take
Mm-hmm.
it?
All depends on how this candle is formed, price action wise.
Yeah.
Like, and also the close is very important. So if it goes up all the way up and closes down by the low, I might wait, right?
Yes.
So that's something I could have a footprint chart up, but that will show me the same thing. It comes up and then selling kicks in and presses the price down again. But I'm trying to look at less. And actually, this is not very telling because sometimes the R2I prints out strange delta readings in this software. So when I see this, I just look at the price action, and then I have a new way that I do it. Just when it closes inside the green EMA, the 80 EMA, I'm out because then I can always get back in because that's my trigger when it comes out here.
Right.
So I will be long from here, and then I'll be out up here somewhere there. Yeah, that would be it. And I'll wait for another one. That's the same thing will happen. So yeah, that's pretty much the way I do it.
So I
And
think
this one down here,
that's your EMA setup, right?
that's my EMA setup. Yeah,
You
and
said
I'm
you had another one?
yeah, that's a change in behavior. See if I can find one. Hmm. I'm looking at
There was two
this.
of them Friday in the YM, if you have it open.
Yeah, I'm looking at the YM right now, actually. Oh, okay. I need to see it
The
here.
first one I missed, by the way. I was pissed about it.
Okay, yeah, sorry to hear that. So here, yeah, here's as you see, that happens when price has been going down for a while. And well, this is not a perfect example actually, but it is because it makes a higher high here. Well, also it does that here, and then I have to wait for the pull for the answer for the sellers. What do they do? So it's going down for a long time, and I can also see that delta is diminishing a little bit, and suddenly here delta is diminishing a lot, and I have this imbalance. So that's a heads up. So as soon as this turns, I could, but that would be very aggressively. I could go along here with a stop down here. Maybe I could just pull it out a little bit so you can see it better. So this has nothing to do with the EMAs. This is only a higher high from here. Preferably, it should take out this high. It does not do that. It does maybe by a tick or something, but that's not enough. And then, but what I'm happy about when I see this is this pullback. There's a lot of aggressive buying in this pullback. So I could take this, but I don't like this price action here, so I won't take that. This is too much, so I have to wait for another pullback. And I see a pullback like this. You can see a lot of volume is going into this pullback, but it cannot press price down to this area. So this is 390 contracts up and the 670 contracts down. And this goes, what, 2/3 of the way? So that also tells me that a lot of volume goes into this wave, but it can't press us down, which means there must be a lot of buyers in this wave. So then I will go long when it turns like that.
And are
Yeah,
you looking, that's purely price action plus volume. Does delta not matter to you in this situation?
it matters, but not that much. What matters most for me when I see this particular example is that there's been almost twice as many contracts going on in this wave down compared to this wave up. I mean, no, this is 30. This is 390 and this is 670. So not double up, but almost, right? So that tells me that must be because if that's all selling, I mean, mostly selling, then we will take out this low easily. But that does not happen. So that just means that there must be a lot of interest selling, aggressive buying. Sorry, a lot of interest buying. And compared with the story that this has been going down, delta's been diminishing to the downside. You have this big impulse wave up, and this down wave with a positive delta. That makes me take it here, not here, because I don't like this price action here, and now it's too late. So yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Beautiful. Any other questions from anybody else about this? Does this all make sense?
Yeah, I have a quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So something I noticed, because we're, in the Discord sharing screens, is I guess your bias flips, like from what it looks, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like you are able to jump kind of between going long and short relatively quickly. I'd just be interested to know, like, is that because of the kind of what's happening in the immediate time frame? Like, could you explain maybe just a little bit about your bias flips and how you're able to do them kind of so often?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. The thing is, it's because sometimes I'm scalping, and sometimes I have a more structured trade on. Let's say that I was long here, from over here somewhere here, and it comes up, and I see this in the delta, right?
Right.
So that was like, okay, that's not very encouraging for a long setup. All this selling and also this imbalance to the downside. So I will for sure close my long here, and then I'll just take a short because delta tells me to take a short. And look at all that price. Look at all this volume going up here, and that's not very far. But prices reaches up. It's got like 4,800 contracts. That's a lot compared to over here. So these waves. So there's a battle going on, and I see the battle is won by the sellers, the way the delta is looking. So I might take a scalp short here, but that's the way I do it. Sometimes when you see me do that, I'm wrong, and those are actually some of those trades are the one that I want to avoid, because I'd rather just stick to my long or just close it and wait for, because I look at this. I mean, this is not, even that it's very bearish in the delta, look at the price action. It's like, okay, you can't press prices down below this area down here. So we're still going long. And on another thing that I look a lot for is also the 200 EMA. It needs to start printing prices below the 200 EMA before I switch to the short side. So when you see me do that, you could call me out and say, hey, Michael, what are you doing? Are you paying a lot of commission now?
Right. So it's like sometimes it's the bigger picture trades and then just some scalping in between. Right.
Yeah,
Okay. No, I understand. That makes sense.
and
Thank you.
but the thing is, it confuses me actually, because that's my weakness. Because then I'm into a scalping mode, and then suddenly I'm into a structured trade, and I can't really. That's some of the things that I'm not good at, like differentiate. Is that the word for it?
Mm-hmm.
Between it, and because then I can come up here and then I'm short biased, and I should not be that, because when I look at the price action, the delta, and my overview chart, the 5 minute, it's clearly going up.
I have a question I think that not many of us would ask, but because we trade the same, I think this will be insightful. When an EMA trade is set up, uh, what situation would you ignore the EMA setup and trade the imbalance back the other direction? Or would you never do that?
Actually, I have found that I need a lot more confirmation before I take the change in behavior setup, the imbalance setup.
Hmm.
Because anyway, this market can be very structural, and I also think I'm pretty new to R2Y, but it looks like it could be. It looks like R2Y is a little more like the NQ, was have these big pullbacks and then just continue in the same direction.
Yes.
So so that's in hindsight, where are we going down to this area? Okay, we're going down to find more buyers, and then we're going up. So that's, I shouldn't be confused about that. I shouldn't flip my bias just because I'm starting to scalping shorts, and that happens sometimes.
I see.
But what I do is I have to look at the other chart. I have to look at, okay, that might be this. Oh, this is, I closed the wrong one. Sorry about that. These are both RTY. What is that? Oh, here it is. So I'll go and look at this chart. So where are we in the overall picture? That's the answer to your question.
I think
So
so.
where?
There's times where I've experienced, I guess I'll just volunteer a little bit more. There's times where I've experienced, yesterday was one of them, where EMA is set up long, but based on the plan, open, out of range short, we're pulling back on a higher time frame. And what I was looking for is an imbalance essentially at the high at this location. We got it, and then
Yeah,
that's where the change
yeah.
of behavior happens. So I have experienced confusion as to, do I stay hard and fast with EMA until what? At what point is it no longer worth trying to pursue what looks like momentum in that direction as you're
Yeah.
sensing a turn? And that's kind of what, since you're basically playing expansion away from value in the EMA setup and then a return to value on the imbalance setup. I'm just curious about how you're isolating that timing, especially since the EMA indicators often are set up right at the high of day or the low of day or even the lower high of day.
Well, the thing is that I have to use this chart a lot more than I do, and I actually, if something like, you can easily have EMA set up, triggering off up here. But let's say you have an EMA set up triggering off here, then I'll have to bear in mind, okay, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th time that it rejects this line, this VWAP line. And you also have the second day VWAP just above it. Then I might consider that this EMA setup is no longer valid
Yeah, and I think
because
that's
they cannot
important.
price.
Aaron made a comment yesterday in his channel about trading what he's anticipating to happen versus what is happening. And that's an
Hmm.
easy trap to fall into, especially when a setup requires sort of technical information to be in place. I'm in value, I'm out of value, the EMA is set up,
Hmm.
whatever that technical piece of information is. And it can be hard to defy a very clear print like
Yeah.
that. Even though, like what you said, it makes perfect sense. It's the seventh time we've tested this. Could we break through? We could. I could definitely be anticipating that, but I'm going to go against what the telemetry is currently saying in the smallest time frame, uh, and bet on a larger time frame possibility. That's pretty challenging, I think.
Yeah, like in this case, for instance, if I might try to take it and see if it can break up. But if I try it once or twice and it just pulls back and stops me out, I need to see it break this line here, this high of this area here, right? Also, it needs to pull through these VWAP line, and they also need to break this value high. And then so when it takes out this high, then it could be actually pretty aggressive. Then I might be pretty aggressive if my EMA sets up, because this one can run
So that's an
when it
interesting
when it breaks.
concept. I mean, a lot of times we're talking about trades where you want to have a stop where the trade is invalidated, but then the other aspect of it is that you also want to have the flip side of that is in order to take a trade, you want to see action and locations that you want to see actions at locations that enable the trade. Even though the indicators may
Yeah,
say it's set up ahead of that, you need more proof than that in some cases.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then and when I forget about that, that's where I pay my commissions,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So it's like, what? So yeah, because then I can also see that there's not so much volume up here. So right, the next area could be up here somewhere, and then I have to pull out this chart to look at it.
Very good.
See, okay, there's this big hole here, so come up here somewhere. Okay, so I will stalk this area up here and say, okay, what will happen with price come up here? But I will not have a target up here. Like say, you know what I mean when I say target, like I have then my trade just automatically closes when it comes up here. I'll look what happens with price and delta when it comes up here. And if it starts to weaken, I will take some off, or I'll just close my position if I have only 2 lots on. But if I have a 6 lot on, I could just, take 2 off or something, or 3 off or something like that.
So if you could, first of all, any other questions that anybody else has before we get into our last 2 questions here? Cool. All right. So if you could get, you've sort of mentioned this already, but I'm going to ask it again anyways. If you could only get help with one thing with respect to your trading, what would you ask for and why?
What would I ask for? Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I think it's a hard question because I need help on a lot of stuff. but
We all
but
do.
yeah, but sometimes I get just too biased and I don't see this. I mean, it's right in front of me. I have 2 charts to look at, this one and the 1 minute. And even if that's the case, I know this is coming up to this area. I know this is important high, and I see these VWAPs coming down. I see this value high. I can sometimes find myself just try to push instead of just let the market show me what it wants. So sometimes I fall into that trap. So I want to, but I don't know how people can help me with that, because when I don't know how about you, but when we all are trading, I don't have time to look at other people's trading. I mean, maybe that's just me.
Well, let me ask you a refining question, and I want to open this conversation up because a lot of necessity is the mother of all invention. So to that end, I think there are answers. Whether or not they're going to do the job or not, we'll figure it out. But do you find that this aggressiveness and this stubbornness for bias that you have, is it does it happen more often on EMA or more often on imbalance, or both?
All that happens on the EMA because that's the one I take the most.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
a setup.
that's what I've
But I
noticed
think,
in your trading as well. I actually thought you would have said that.
yeah, but it is getting better, and it is getting better because I'm looking at less. I only look at these 2 charts. I'm trying to anyway, because and when I need to know, I need to just look at you have 2 screens, right? I have this screen with this chart, and then the other screen with the other chart. And I have 2 markets that I look at. I just recently added the RTY. Also because it's hard to wait for these setups for me sometimes. This market can also be very slow. Like that sometimes I think, do I trade bonds here? What is happening? Why this price does not move at all?
Yes.
So RT-wise, and that's why I love NQ, but NQ have killed me. So I have to wait to trade that product. I decided to do that. And another weakness is also when this market is standing still, I'm looking at other markets. And when I come back, it's too late. So that I don't know if other people do that, but I hate myself for doing that. Why didn't you stay with your market? I mean, so that's discipline,
Well, there's a
and
couple of
I'm
things
working.
inside of that I want to unpack. One is that the guy that taught me or got me into trading. I mean, he used to look at all 3 markets all at once. He traded the same system,
Mm,
same as what Aaron does, and he had ES, he had crude, and he had um, gold. And those 3 markets was all he ever looked at. And he had all those 3 up at the same time, and he was just looking for the same setup across all those 3 markets, which is what people say to do. So I mean,
yeah, that's what I do with the RTY and the YM right now.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, best case scenario is you're putting the same trade on both at the same time, and they're moving at the same they're moving at the same time, doing the same thing.
Yeah,
So I
that's
don't
right.
think there's anything. I'd encourage disagreement if somebody does believe in that. I know Nick has patently refused to look at other markets. He wants
Mm,
to succeed with the ES. And I don't want to
mm.
speak for you, Nick, if you want to add something to that.
Yeah, I mean, I've traded the other markets, but I think that they're so different. that for me, I want to be an expert in one thing. There's plenty of room in the market's movement in any given day for me to make more than a living. I mean, a huge living. So, it doesn't really require me to look around. If I can find, 2 or 3 major setups that would make your living forever. But just like what Michael was saying, is that as soon as you look away from any of your markets to go look at the other market and get yourself in tune with that, you're going to go back to the other one and you're going to experience that, hey, I just missed my best setup of the day.
It feels
So,
like Dom traders have
Mm.
it easy as far as
Yeah.
all this goes. Like, why is it that they're able to look at so many markets at the same time, but price action traders can't? Is it just because is it pure real estate?
I don't think price. I mean, I have a mentor like Matt Brown. He looks at 8 markets at the same time using price actions. But the key is that, like Nick says, that you do not look at them at the same time. I'm trading the YM, and then it's boring, and it's just been in a narrow price range for an hour, and then I switch to crude oil, and I see, okay, here's happening. Okay, now it's set up. Oh, I didn't set up anyway, and then I go back to the YM, and then it just have exploded.
Mm, yeah, yeah. No,
And
I've definitely.
and
I
then
mean,
I
I've
try
definitely
to
experienced that for
catch
sure.
that trade. Yeah, and then I try to catch the trade, and of course I'll get stopped out.
Well,
So
the
if
other.
you
That
don't,
Go ahead, Ziggy.
yeah, I was just gonna say quickly, if you kind of don't want to look at all of them at the same time, what comes to mind for me is maybe exploring further use of alerts and reminders for certain things. So just quickly setting alerts on whatever it is you need to do, volume or price levels.
mm-hmm.
Maybe if you flip away, I know with my chart I could set an alert quite quickly. So maybe that's something that you could explore if that works for you.
I mean,
it's a,
having an alert that goes off when the EMAs are stacked would be wonderful, like a sound.
yeah, that's one thing that Aaron, you bring up, Zig, you bring up a great point, is that, um, what you're doing looks totally automatable. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem like, maybe you don't actually pull the trigger with an automation, but certainly a signal or a sound or something. And I was just programming in while I was listening to you. You said something about the delta going down 3 times in a row. I'm gonna program a dot that goes on my screen that shows that exact thing and makes it sound.
Mm.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm gonna use it, but I'm gonna watch it.
yeah, yeah. It's a heads up anyway,
Well, the other
right?
thing I thought about too, and this came out of our discussion yesterday with me and Nick, is because of this battle plan and now this new process of the trade of the day. I think there's a possibility that when our systems converge or when we build trust in a type of setup, that I said this to Nick, and I'm saying this publicly, but I'm not asking Nick to do anything about this. I'm just using it as an example. Nick's mid trade. I trust Nick. I trust the way Nick trades. I've seen the mid trade. I've seen the explanation of it. I understand it. What's wrong with Nick calling that out and say, "Hey, the ES got the mid trade set up. Take it if you want," or whatever. However you want to say that so that it's appropriate.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I feel the same way about the EMAs. Because of the battle planning, being able to call out YM is set up for EMA long in a price channel heading for value area high. What is wrong with that? Is that something that's going to put somebody else in the ditch? And I'm saying that as an open question, and let's have some discussion.
I don't think anything wrong with that. Um, I mean, oh, then if you don't trade it, I mean, if that's not part of your trading, you can just ignore it.
Yeah.
Might help other people. So I think that's great.
And I would say the same thing about this, the VWAP idea that you have with the 3 different days. I've never seen any chart that looks like that, and
Mm.
I just drew that on my 1-minute chart as well, just to see what that looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like a breakout. I don't even know if you can make but it's easy to program. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
all you got to do is you got to say, okay, the close of the bar is above phase 3 VWAP, and the close on the bar before that was below it. Boom, make a sound, click.
Mm. Yeah,
It's
well,
not
I don't
really.
know how to program that, but I guess I can dig into that and learn it on the NinjaTrader. But I think there might, or maybe I can just hook up with some people that can program this. There must be a ton of people that can program that.
One of the other things
Um,
I've talked to Nick about is trying to figure out how we can publish our battle plans in a concise way so that people can follow along with it. And part of the trade prep that we're doing in the morning is being able to get to that basic repeatable process so that
mm,
you know what I'm looking for, I know what you're looking for. Not that we have to trade exactly the same way, but there's two things. It breeds accountability to the process, it provides inspection to the process, and I also think that it helps people build in tool sets in their own trading that provide confirmation and
mm,
disprovability to an idea.
yeah. But just one thing I'll say before I forget it is that I just come to realize in my trading that I have to look at less, and I have to, because this is boundaryless. This kind of like trading is that there's no boundaries for you, so you have to set them for yourself. So so I think for me, just to look at this and then just look at these two markets at the same time, it makes sense because I can always I can go back and I can look, where do I make my ticks? I make them here. I make them by taking these two setups and nothing else. I do not make them in my scalping. So maybe I should just stick with that. That was something that I've been thinking about over the weekend,
I think that's
last weekend.
true, and I guess I'll add. I know that I've been off a month, and so I haven't been screen sharing, but these last 2 days. But anybody that's seen my screen sees that I mark up my charts while I'm trading. I'm writing on them what I see
Mm,
happening, I'm starting to assemble the evidence for the trade, and I think. I don't know, like everybody's got their own way, and I'm not asking anybody to do something if it's going to be uncomfortable or get in the way of being successful, but I feel like I am going to hold fast to my guns that says human beings cannot even succeed in simple tasks without a checklist. That study has been
mm.
proven over and over and over again. Staying in your head and thinking that you can reason through it is unreasonable. Totally unreasonable. So why not take the time and write it out on your charts? And then everybody, especially since for sharing charts. Well, I guess I'll put it out there. I'll say it as a challenge. I'll challenge all of you. If you want to stay consistent and learn consistency, you have to boil it down to a checklist. That's a fact. I'm going to stand behind that, and I can show you the study that proves it. So I'm going to challenge all of you. Write what you want to do on your chart before you do it, and then that way we can all see at the same time and go, oh man, I think you're seeing that wrong. I mean, I see what you're seeing, but I think you're seeing it wrong, or you're seeing it right, and I'm going to join you.
Yeah, I can share. I mean, I put together most like basically every morning something, so I could just start sharing it.
I mean, with
That's all
every
I need to
trade,
do.
Zig. I mean, every
Yeah,
trade,
right,
not
right.
just your morning prep.
Gotcha.
But I don't. Okay, so when before we go into trade, we have to write it on the chart.
Uh,
I'm stalking long here,
Yeah, I'm
or what?
stalking long. Like if you've seen my charts, I do it just exactly like Mbox Mike does. I see pole
Yeah,
shift.
yeah,
I see expanding delta. I see pace of bid increase. I see
yeah.
etc. I'm writing all of that on my chart.
But
No,
can you? Oh, sorry, Nick. Go on. Go ahead.
well, I was just thinking of something. It would be unbelievably cool if we could somehow just be able to click something that just says, I'm stalking long.
Mm,
And it would allow, for me, when I'm in the throes of watching the market, it's really hard for me to type something out and
Mm.
draw and do stuff. But, if we had one screen that just said right across the board, maybe it was like a table and it says, Josh, trading the Dow, right? He's trading the Dow, stalking long. Biggie, trading rut, stalking short.
Not a bad
It
idea.
just, oh my God, that would be so amazingly cool.
and then there's some kind of a timestamp, so we know what time we put in.
Yeah.
I
Mm,
just it would have to. It seems like it have to be something outside of our trading software because most people have a different software. And so like
Yeah.
I could picture doing something like that on Sierra. Like I could just hotkey something that flickers
Might
up
even
of
be just a
text.
group in it might be a group in WhatsApp or something.
Or if it needs to be a table, it could be Notion. I mean, if it's an app and it's just an ongoing conversation, it will get lost in the stream of messages.
Well, we would need a screen on Discord that is, a separate computer basically that is sharing a Google spreadsheet or a Discord page, and so that people are
Yeah.
moving their check marks. But
Well, that's all you do. There it is right there. It's a Google spreadsheet.
Yep.
And everybody has the box, and you just click it, and it's red or green or whatever.
Yeah, I like that. Is there anybody? I don't have I've got 4 monitors, but I don't have 2 computers that are set right here for me to be able to do that. Does anybody have that? Who wouldn't mind also doing this?
I do have 2 computers. Well, I have a laptop and this normally like my trading computer, and then I have a laptop. But I don't know. I don't know if I can do it.
Let's think about the best way to do this. What makes the most sense? I mean, I just thought of that. The Google spreadsheet might be a way to do it. I got to tell you, I have 8 screens, and I'm always clamoring for sticking something else on these screens. So I had and 2 computers. So I could easily, on one of the computers, hit a Google spreadsheet and have it open on one of my screens and just click a box. But I don't know if that's the best way to do it.
Well, I
or if
think,
it
but
would be
you need
helpful
2 streams
way.
though. That's the key thing, because we're going to be looking at your desktop, your execution screen, your execution chart is what we'll be looking at, and then you'll need another. Like Ziggy logs in twice to.
Oh, you don't need that. You don't, because if we all opened up a Google sheet, right, that we shared, we can all edit that Google sheet. So literally, you wouldn't have to share my screen.
Oh,
to
I
do
see what you're
this.
saying. Yeah, if you're just okay, I see what you're saying.
So you're monitoring my screen like you always do. Nothing changed. Okay, but we all log into one Google spreadsheet, and we click on it, and we say, stalking long, stalking short.
I think we could make it pretty like we could try to make it. I honestly think we could basically make buttons in Excel. So it would show there would be maybe something like, this is just an idea, a list of names, and then below that like buttons that you click. So stalking long, stalking short, whatever, done for the day or whatever. And when you click that button, it pops up, changes what your name, says, your status or whatever. Something
That's in
like that.
Excel. You could do it in Excel, but how would we share that Excel spreadsheet? Kind of Dropbox or something?
I'm not familiar with Google Sheets. I guess Google Sheets is a little more limiting, but I mean, you can still change cell backgrounds and merge cells, so you still could make buttons in Google Sheets like that.
It can do almost everything that Excel can. Almost everything, as far as all this stuff goes.
Yeah, especially
Okay.
Excel Online.
Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that and see. I mean, if there's anything I've learned is with Nick is that let's just start slow and let it grow into something else.
Yeah,
I'm happy to submit. I'll submit a draft, and if anybody else wants to do the same, do that, we can just kind of take it from there, I guess.
Sergey, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, like how much information were you planning on having on that spreadsheet? Because if it's like Josh, like stalking long on RTY, if it's like just that one line, you could do that in what's it called, Slack. Just set your status to like, stalking along on RTY, and you can just like hover over people's names and see like what their plan is. Unless, of course, you're planning on putting like more information in that spreadsheet.
I love the Slack idea because it's so helpful. I'm afraid that it requires too many clicks though.
I think what's the easy. I might need to like sleep on this. I don't think the Google Sheets is a bad idea either. They're both like valid ideas. It's just I might need to think about it a little more. Like how can we have people,
But we do have the Notion what do you call that? Well, anyway, we can make a template in our Notion hybrid mind where we can go in. Doesn't that
It's
update
live.
in real time
Yeah, it updates real time too.
in a table? So we just make a table where with all our names on, and then we can have that on the side, and we can see what people are typing in.
If we had a table, we could also take it a step further and go historical. And if we ever got to a point where we could do a group breakdown of a specific day, I mean, now I'm thinking way down the line, but being able to go through the table of not logged trades, but like the summary table of I was long here and I took an EMA setup, at this time, and then being able to point back to that in the group and go, yeah, I was really thinking short there. Why did you think long?
Mm.
That could have a group that could, because otherwise you got to try and recreate it one on one, but having that historical record might be also helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know for archiving things, this is not as helpful at all. But I know for me, what like is the easiest thing that I could do right now that I could code right now would just be a hotkey to throw up text, or you can even make buttons on Sierra, and I could just have a button that would like stalking long, green circle filled in. Like I can do that very quickly, which seems a little easier to just do. Like all I have to do is put a hotkey on what I'm already doing, whereas obviously jumping back from the something like a
Yeah.
spreadsheet is not like I'm not saying it's difficult. I just whatever is I think ease is important here, right?
Well,
For
and
sure.
mass adoption, I mean, that's the key. I think
Yeah.
it's only really beneficial if, more than two of us do it.
Yeah.
So would you will just appear on your chart, and then we can see it in Discord. That's the idea, right?
Well, I don't know how when you guys are watching other people in Discord, like I add people to the stream and then I have a grid so I can see everybody's, and then if I want to expand, I just click on one person's.
Yeah.
Right? And if people had something similar on their charts, like text or a box or a color, like light
Mm.
system that comes up, which I know I can do in Sierra very quickly, you guys could see it even if you're just looking at the whole grid of everybody. You would see the light or the text. It's
Mhm.
just an idea, but
Sounds like a good idea because you need something that you don't have to go in and open the chart to see. I mean, open so you are full screen, because you would probably, but I know I would have Discord locked up in a corner somewhere, and then I can see your tiny tile starts to blink in a color, and I know that you have put on a message, and then I can open up and go in and see it.
Is there a status that's easily set in Discord that changes your
I
screen,
I
like when
don't
you
think
go live or anything? I mean, there's got to be some automations there.
I mean there are statuses, but I mean I don't know if it pop. I don't think it. I don't know if I can. I don't know. I definitely need to think about all this more. Like I like the
Yeah.
idea of because one of the original ideas of the sharing screens like was inspired by the Axia and what they do at their desk, and they just have a name and then it shows long or short and then it shows the position, and that's appealing to me for sure. And this is almost like better than that in a way because it's like ahead of what they're doing, right? Like if you're because sometimes if I'm at a pivot low and it's like it might be 10-15 minutes before I get the pullback I'm waiting for. And I could say stalking short easily. It wouldn't be hard for me to do that. So this is a good idea for sure.
Mm.
My personal opinion is that the thing that will go the farthest, the fastest, and fail the quickest, which is what we want in this kind of design, is the Google spreadsheet. And we just post it every morning. That's not a hard task to just say, hey, make sure you log into or even put it in. I don't know how you guys do it. When I do my morning prep, all my 5 or 6 morning prep bookmarks are all in the same folder and I open them all at the same time. So adding one more bookmark to that would make it pretty simple to make sure that I'm always opening it every morning, clicking over it. And, there won't be 100% adoption on every single trade. Of course there won't, but the more we do it together, then the more likely it's going to become a valuable tool for us.
But for me, a morning prep is more like personal, like how state of environment. Did I get my exercise? Did I meditate? Stuff like that. I just glance at the charts and then I can then I'm ready to go. I do
You don't
not
like look for
prepare a
news or
whole lot.
anything like that? You don't open.
Oh yeah, sure. I just scan for news if there are any. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I
I'm
do.
just saying, when you open up that link, just open up, put it in. In fact, I'll show you how I do it. So just so you can see, sometimes simple things can be profound, I think. As an example, when I start the morning, I have a tab open. Golly, my mouse. I literally go like this. Right click, open all 5. And it starts just like that. So all of the things that I need, my journal, my trade process check. I look at Financial Choose and Forex Factory for my news events and the things that are going on. Usually it'll look like this. And I just use this to double check if there was something wild in the charts. And then I have my morning task list video that talks to me, tells me, gets my mind space in the right place. So just adding a Google spreadsheet to that folder so that they open all up at once is easy. 10 seconds.
But I was under the impression that the thing was that while we were trading, we should put in information about, okay, it looks like this might turn, the RTY might turn because of that, this, and then just a short explanation, and that's it. Wasn't that the idea?
I think it's that. It could be that. I mean, that would be an expansion on the idea of, if I just did this, something. Sorry, I misspelled your name. I apologize.
No, that's okay. Doesn't matter. It's fine.
Sitting on your hands or something like that. Just a quick automation so that I can click a button that says, at this time, hey, Josh and Nick are stalking long, and you just pop over to the spreadsheet to look at what are they thinking. The information could get stale quickly, so you'd have to attend to this, but
it would be really simple. You make it so that when they click, you put the time next to it, and it just automatically plugs that in.
Okay.
And, stuff like this is super simple. And the reason that I thought a separate thing like this, not in Discord, would be better, because it's difficult to watch everybody's stream.
It is.
Something like this over in the corner with all of our names in a small little space on my screen, I could watch that whole time. And if it was color coded with red and green or whatever, it would be super easy for us to determine what everybody's thinking right at the moment. That's all.
I think we could start simple and build this into a thing that is providing group benefit over time and group accountability and oversight.
I'll submit a rough draft. I'll try my hand at it, and it will be super general, but I'm happy to submit a rough draft idea for something like
Great,
this.
man. Thanks.
Good. That's a good start.
And I also think you might try Notion, because this is real time. So if I update this here and you're looking at the same page, it'll update for you just seconds after. So I don't have any. It doesn't. I don't mind. In fact, I think staying in Notion is appealing. But however you want to do it.
Yeah, we could do Notion too. I mean, the thing with Notion that we could do is when you have a table in Notion, if it's a certain type of column, it's very easy to just click it and then type a letter and press enter, and it will select that bubble. Like it will make its own. Like if you had categories for stalking long, stalking short, it would be easy to just select them very quickly, real time. But
and I'm all for not introducing another program. So if it works in Notion, that would be okay with me.
Oh.
Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But are you sure that it will update in real time, Joshua?
Yeah, 100% positive.
Definitely does.
Okay. Yeah. I think also Notion, we already have a hybrid mind Notion platform. So we can just put it in there as a tab and then put a table up. I think that might be the easiest.
I mean, I'm open to both, guys. Really, I get, like, when I look at the two, I do think Google, some type of live sheet, is sounding a little easier right now, because it seems both are easy to input what you want to do, but I think Google, the spreadsheet, would be a little bit easier. But that's up for debate for
Yeah.
sure.
Let
This,
me
Yeah.
try I'll try Notion. I'll do a draft on Notion, and you do a draft on Sheets, and and not to say that there needs to be a runoff. We'll pick whichever one and just go with it. Doesn't matter. But let's do that. We'll submit it, kind of kick it around, and then whatever the kind of the majority wants to try. Again, ease of use and adoption is the key, not prettiness.
yeah, definitely.
I think it's important that it can print. If you can program something that automatically can print, oh, I couldn't say that word. They can print a timestamp of some kind, so we know when you actually inputted it.
Yeah,
That must be
I think that's
possible, right?
key.
Yeah, 9:30, like 5 minutes after the open, 9:35. I went long because right? So
I
you don't
also
have to
think,
write
back to
9:40.
you and Nick's point. I mean, well, Nick, I don't think really struggles with this as much anymore either. But to your point about having to check in or having the mental cue that you have to check in and tell somebody what your bias is might make you pause long enough to go, well, should I really be trying to scalp this trade, or should I just wait for,
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
what I
that's
mean?
a good point. That's a good point. Yes, for sure.
I don't
I
really
didn't
want to
really
tell
think
everybody I'm
thought about that.
short on a trend long day.
Oh, you can trend short. You can scalp short for sure if you want that. I mean, I know a guy who he only counter trends and he makes a living out of it. So it's possible. Yeah.
Okay, well, Michael, good interview. Who is next week? Do you know?
I think it's Jeremy.
I think it's G and
Well,
I think. Is it?
I
And
can. Well, it's on the Notion calendar. You can see it there.
Good. I know it is, and I appreciate you doing that work. I just wondered
I
if you had it off the top of your head. Plus,
sure.
next week
Yeah,
will
sure.
be
I
the
can.
workshops as well. So
No,
we're
it's Gianmarco.
Oh, Gianmarco. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to make sure that he's gonna be ready to do that. And then next week starts the workshop series. It looks like we're gonna do that every other week. And then if we can, for the traders that are gonna stay here and spend time, Sergey being one of them, let's get them on the docket to be interviewed. And Michael, you did such a good job today. I'm so glad to have your interview. Glad to have you here.
No, thank you.
yeah, thanks so much,
But
Michael.
can I, Sergey, would that be okay if I just put you up in a certain time slot, or do you prefer to choose one?
Yeah, 9 a. This regular time for Saturdays is perfectly fine with me. I'm good with that.
Okay. Yeah, great, man. So I'll just put you up in the like after the last one. I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
it's that would be. What would
I
that
don't think
be?
Peter will be doing his. I don't
You
think.
don't think Peter will be
I
doing
don't
his?
think so.
Okay, that's
We might
good
have
to
to
know.
just make that replacement, but I'll message him and ask you to.
Yeah. Okay. And the week after, the 6th of February, that we Jeremy, and then it's Peter. Pete, and then for the last one I have up, that's Nick H. So I don't know if Nick is. I don't know. I mean, I haven't. I
He's
mean,
coming back. It's been he's been back. He's gonna jump in.
right.
I don't remember when did you do yours?
He did
Like
his
almost way in
first
the
time.
beginning.
Yeah, he did it in one of the first
Before we
ones.
had the question format, we had
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah. Well, you guys, as you know, we talked about this. We're going to continue to cycle these interviews because we know there's an evolution. So as it goes, there's the intention is to just keep cycling through folks, and slot this with other content. And then I also wanted to make. I guess I can stop this.